Hi Richa.
Hi Dev.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Richa, this is something that I've been doing for some years, but the most I've ever prepared is today.
Oh,
Yeah, why? Is because you're an author, and authors are very famous for their intellectual comparisons between things and sorts. So I thought, let me be very prepared. So I am prepared today. But having said that, if you find any question of mine not that great, I request you to please don't complain anywhere else. It should be between us, and I'll make the changes required. But having said that, my first question is, of course, I'm fond of names always, and your name is Richa.
yes.
And I want to understand the meaning of Richa. And when we have a certain name to ourselves, we try to imbibe certain things and personality traits. Let's say someone is Surya, he tries to be like sun and all. And I've been, my name is Dev, so I've always been like I'm the god and all. Yeah, that's something that I've always felt about.
Yeah.
What does your name mean, and what are the things that you have imbibed through your name?
First of all, thank you. I'm very flattered, but I don't think authors are so intellectual. It's everyone is on the same level. It's just they try to vocalize it because that's also the part of their job.
You're just simplifying it for us now.
No, that's the reality of everything. If you want to make it complex, yes, it will be. And very interesting question. Hardly people ask me about the meaning of my name. Richa is it's a couplet in Vedas.
Oh, okay.
So there are lines also in Hindi, Vedon ki richaएं. So richaएं are the couplet. So that's the only meaning of it. It's a poetry kind of thing.
And how did you get this name?
So
Any
if
story
you
behind it?
see in North India, there are hundreds of Richas.
Right.
And Richa Sharma is also very common, to be very honest.
No, I've actually Googled, I've found like 100 plus
Yeah,
Richas.
in my family itself, in extended family, there are 3 Richas.
Right.
So, and all Richa Sharmas.
Right.
So, this name was given by my cousin. She is the eldest cousin, my mom's eldest brother's daughter.
Oh, okay.
So when I was born, she wanted to name me and she said, I want to name her Richa. So it's as simple as that. And everyone liked it.
Okay.
So they said, okay, let's name her Richa.
Right.
So,
the start of the conversation from here, I've always found there are lots of beauties in the world that we live in. And I find the most beautiful thing in the world is the way we communicate with each other, the way we have invented the way of communicating, let's say the language, right? And there are so many languages. So I feel it's one of the most magical thing that has ever happened to human lives in general, where we can communicate, we can understand someone. And language communication is one part, but then when it comes to writers, you put those words in a way that might sound complex, but it also deals with each and every simplest things of our lives, right? And I've also read your book, and I just find if language is magic, then the magicians are the writers, because we have been all educated here through writers such as you, right? It can be fiction, it can be the textbooks that the kids today learn, right? So I feel you are in a way magicians, because you could understand those part of the simplest things that we do every day, but yet are very oblivious of whether this can be called an art or not. So I feel that's really a magician, so to pull that off.
Thank you.
So I want to understand, how did this magician happen to you? How did you want to become this kind of magician, to put those words into perspective, and from those perspective you draw opinions from different people, and for those opinions again you sometimes challenge it, sometimes agree to it, sometimes disagree to it, but then have that again patience to make sure you focus on your characters. I know it's a very long question, but I want to understand, how did that start?
Yeah, so it will have a long answer.
Yeah.
To begin with, I agree. Words are the most beautiful thing humans could have come up with. And I love words. I have such huge love for words, and it has always been there. About magician part, see, every artist, it's not just writers. Every artist who create is in a way magician. And it doesn't just, we cannot restrict it just to artists. Even in everyday life, if a person, like my cook, or even if we are cooking also, we are creating something. We are taking one bottle gourd and we are making a beautiful curry out of it. We are making a creation totally different from what it was. So that's also magic. If you see, everything has a magic in it. because we are creating. You created those words in conversation.
Right.
That's also magic.
Right.
So we, as a society, we think that, okay, artists are creating, but everyone is creating. The only thing is artists are doing it as their job.
Wow.
And we give more importance to the jobs. We focus on that. Okay, this is what they are doing professionally. So this is what they identify with. But no, even as a kid is also inventing and creating. If you see, they are creating their own language. From sign language, if they don't know the words, when they start learning words, their words are different from what we speak. So they also have created.
Right.
So it's the same thing, we all do that. So I feel nothing is as such so complex that other person cannot do. We all can do everything. It's just some things we are good at, some things we are not. Or some things we are more passionate, so we put more focus on it.
Right, more efforts.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
So this is what I feel about the magic part. Second thing, why I started writing, it goes back to my childhood. See, my mom was a voracious reader. She would read libraries, entire libraries. So we would have seen her that she would finish her work at home or even at her school. She was a teacher also. She'll come back and she'll finish entire novels in one day. So I grew up seeing that. My father also appreciated that so much. He wouldn't read himself, but always get us books. He will give us even small ones like Tinkle and all those things, but it starts with that. And even in fact, currently also, he will read something in newspaper, mark it and tell me to read that opinion piece. He will still send me links.
Right.
So the love for words started by observing, by seeing that. We started reading, and from reading, it's a natural transition to writing for me. Not every time it transitioned like that, but I used to read a lot. Then I started writing blogs, and from blogs there was also diary. Then somehow I started writing short stories. It's just organically it grew into writing. There was nothing as such a focus that I have to be a writer. It came naturally to me. So that's how.
Right. And when you talk about things that come to us naturally, I want to understand that part where you finally thought you're ready to write something. I'm sure I've read a couple of articles of yours where you've mentioned that the idea was in you for the last 10 years and then lots of revisions. So I've done my research. But
yes, I can see that.
Yeah, but I want to understand what ignited your journey towards writing. And of course I understand your father used to send the pieces and you used to read and all. I understand that's how it started, but I want to understand, when were you ready to pick up that pen, write it on a paper and think that one day I'll publish this piece of writing of yours?
To be very honest, even I don't know why I started blogging. It was when I was in graduation, I think. I had things to say.
Which year was it?
Maybe I think 2003, 2005, around those time.
Okay.
I started having a blog, writing poems, small experiences, because for a person of 17 years of age, I had enough experiences of travel. I was staying in Arunachal, visiting Agra and then Bangalore. There was a lot of things. So I thought I can write about these things. It started as a funny snippets which I had once I had traveled alone in a train, how it was. So those things I started making a fiction out of it. See, whenever we create something, we write anything creatively, unless it's a non-fiction, we take experiences but we mix a lot of imagination into it and make it worthy of reading, of interest. So that I started doing long back with the small paras or blog post. Then one of the serious fiction I created was in Bangalore. We still have a dog, and there was a neighbor uncle. He wouldn't touch him, but there was a lot of equation. He would talk to him. He will talk to street dogs, not let them meet. There was a lot of story going on. So I started writing about Uncle S and my dog Oreo. So that's when I started creating stories out of real things. And obviously it won't be exactly as it happened. I'll start adding imagination. This went on for some time. Then I started writing short stories. I started writing without the feeling that I have to publish it somewhere. And I think that's the beauty of it, because I didn't have that pressure. Even this book idea, it came in 2012 when I was in Arunachal Pradesh for my dad's retirement. Because I was in Arunachal, I started writing about Northeast. A story I thought I'll write about this place. While writing that, I didn't know if it will become a short story or it will become a novel, or will I ever publish it or rewrite it. I was just writing because I wanted to write. And that's why I could do it also. There was no pressure that I have to make a career out of it.
Right.
And this went on. I did a lot of jobs. I was working. This was as a side mein, I was writing. After a point, then I realized, okay, after 2 drafts or something, I thought, okay, now I should write it and maybe think about publishing it. So that's how it became. But it became very organically. It was not even my intent. But there was a wish, obviously, to write seriously. And the more I wrote, the more I felt this is what I want to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now talking about the book, we'll delve into the book. But before delving completely into the book, I want to understand that you have grown up in Arunachal Pradesh, right? And I understand why the writer has happened, because it's so beautiful of a place. You just can't stop admiring, those beautiful places. And when you just admire it so much, you end up putting it somewhere as a memory. Some take pictures, some do write it down like yourself, and some make poetry out of it. But they do something. When you fall in love with something, someone as well, right? They're just different forms of expression. So I want to understand how was your days in Arunachal has been, and what's your view on Arunachal Pradesh even now? I'm sure much has changed there in terms of the weather and climate, but a lot of things have changed in terms of how we perceive them as a region, because it's one of the most less talked topic in India altogether. So I want to understand how's your equation with Arunachal Pradesh.
My equation with Arunachal is that same as one will have with a home. It's my first home. And for me, home is not one place. There can be many homes in one's life. So definitely Arunachal Pradesh is my home. And it's a beautiful place. I had loved it, but it has its own challenges also. What we understand when I came out and I came to Bangalore or anywhere, when I went, people thought of it, and even now, the Northeast is perceived as a more of an exotic location. What it is, greenery, river, beautiful, you will see Himalayas, you will see this and that. But it is not all that when you live there. That place also receive highest level of rainfall. For months there will be just rain. So the issues also are there, which people, first of all, our media also doesn't cover much of it. And it is not something which makes anyone feel good. So we always talked about how exotic, how beautiful, orchids and this, and there are rivers. Definitely there are. I used to wake up with that sound of river. There will be Himalayas in front of our home. It's beautiful, but when you see a life of an Arunachali, it is also full of struggles. It's not as easy as we staying in a metropolitan city. And I really, in this book also, that's why I wrote, because I wanted somewhere people to understand that there is a huge part of that life where they have to deal with yearly flood. Every year there is monsoon-led flood.
Right.
I have also seen so many times. The struggle of having that 4 or 5 months of heavy rain, you staying in. So what are the basic things? The shortage. There's a lot of things. Pipes, people will think that there's no shortage of water because there's so much of rain. But that doesn't happen. The pipeline gets broken because there's too much of pressure of water. Then what you do? There are a lot of issues, and we have to understand it is also a destination, it is also a place, but like our lives, they also have their own challenges. They are also dealing with it. They also need certain kind of development and focus. So we have to see it in a larger perspective, I feel. The Northeast as a whole.
Right. You know, it's very interesting because now that I've asked this question myself, I didn't ask you about the people of Arunachal Pradesh. You know, I've asked about I've told you about the place, how beautiful it is, and all of that. But I omitted myself. You know, I didn't talk about the people out there. And I think when we look at Northeast as whole, we often just not look
See
at
the beauty
people.
of it.
Yeah, we just see the external ones, but internally, what makes Arunachal Pradesh is something
Arunachal, yes.
that's hidden, you know, for all of us.
Yeah.
So I want to understand, how are people in Arunachal like, and you know, how's a typical day like in Arunachal Pradesh?
See, when I was back then, which is almost 15, 20 years back, so life must have changed now.
Do you visit though? Like how often? do
No,
you
mine last was in 2012. After my dad's retirement, I haven't gone. We keep planning, but we need the time and the amount it needs.
Right.
So I haven't been able to. Now I will be going as a tourist, so that's also one thing. So yeah, because you in Arunachal you cannot buy a land or own a land unless you belong to the state. Yeah, so once your job is done, you are out.
Right.
So that's the thing. Back then, it was a normal day. You would get up, go to school. The beauty was we would cross a hill and go to our school. That when I tell people, they're like, "What? That's what you guys used to do." Yes, and because the day starts by 4:30 or something. By 5 in the morning, we'll have even our tuitions. That's how early the day would start. And by 6, we would be home. The sky will be starlit every single day. And that's something which we took for granted. Until the time I came to a city, and then I realized, okay, no. Even there are small things which were very different, like fireflies. Every night, the fireflies would enter our rooms, bedroom and all, and we will be like, oh my God, again. And we used to take it as not something so exotic about it. But since Arunachal Pradesh, I've hardly seen any firefly. We don't see in cities. These are small changes which has happened in nature with our development and construction. Those things are slightly different in Arunachal than staying in a city. Otherwise, people are definitely very friendly. They're sweet. They have different dialects and culture for each region. So it's not like Arunachal will have one language.
Of course.
Arunachal will have one culture. Each tribe has a different festival. Each tribe will have a different culture, language also. So there's a lot of diversity. There are a lot of people from Assam, Nepal, from North India also, mainland India. So the language is also a beautiful mix of all the languages, of all other languages. Your Hindi will have Assamese and Nepalis in it. So very accepting it was back then. So right now, how it is, I not much idea of.
Right. I've also heard that you know Arunachali Hindi.
Yeah, Arunachali Hindi, yes, I used to speak only that, yeah.
Right. And how do you feel internally when you look at that place and when you're living in a city and you see how somewhere, again, I mean, it's inevitable, I suppose, you know, you can't get into the whole phase of development. Of course, you can take certain precautions and things can work out. But I also believe that being in India, it's inevitable that we have to lose something to get something.
Yes.
But how do you feel inside when you see this kind of environment going on?
To be very brutally honest, I do miss staying near around nature, but I also know I'm so corrupted by luxury now that I need a city to stay in. Very honestly.
Right.
Yeah, we need certain luxury, certain comfort, not even luxury, like certain comforts. You need a good hospital, you need good roads to reach, good transport connection. You can fly out or at least take a bus or car, something when you want to travel. So those things which we take granted here is not over there.
Right.
So the quality of life differs. Now, if personally what I would like, I might go and stay for a few months, but at this stage of my life where I have stayed almost 10-15 years in a city, I don't know if I will be able to adjust the way I adjusted as a kid. That's very honest.
No, I completely get it, and that's why I keep myself open for both the conversations, because you can't tell which is right, which is wrong these days,
and you need that. I mean, you need development as well. But what cost, we have to decide.
Right. And how has it been in Hyderabad for you so far?
Beautiful. Yeah, I came here for my master's and I stayed back. So that says a lot about the city. I really liked it. It made me feel at home. There were, when I came, obviously I came as a kid to study. It was all new for me. But the interactions I had even with strangers at that time really stuck with me and made me feel that I want to be in this city. There were instances where I was traveling, walking alone, and I didn't know which part of the place it is. One man came and told me, this is not a safe area, this is that area, you should walk this side. So those kind of things, the protectiveness. The city has given me a lot of love, yes. I agree. With that, yes.
You've studied in University of Hyderabad,
yes.
Right? And is that the place where you met Priyadarshi by any chance? Or have you been out?
Yeah, we both did the masters there.
Really? You both were classmates?
No. I was his senior. He was my junior.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Could you just understand how did you guys meet?
Yeah, we belong to the same university. We both did masters in mass communication. He was in television and radio. I was in another field as such, and that's how we were friends.
Right.
Yeah.
I've also seen, why I asked this question is because I've seen your articles where you've spoken very highly of Priyadarshi and how supportive he was throughout your journey.
Of course, yes.
So I want to understand that part when you were writing, what kind of support you've gotten from him as opposed to you might not have gotten from somewhere else. What do you think was the difference?
See, we both chose careers which were volatile and which were not something which any one of our family has done. So that understanding was there. I mean, we both understand how much our careers need us and how much creatively it can be challenging. It demands our attention. When he was struggling, trying to work it out, as in make a place of himself in an industry, I was supportive. Same way he was supportive of me when I was trying to write. Is that we both know that when we are creating, when we are doing something, we need that space. What a creative and artistically we need. I think that understanding is there for both of us, because we both have grown and seen the struggle part and the failures part. So it's given, it's there, and I'm definitely thankful for that. He knows when I need my time, he knows when I'm writing, he knows when I'm in writing mode. So those things are very challenging, but the person deals with it. So yes.
Right. Since you're a writer, I'll just take this privilege of asking this question. What do you think love is all about? What's your philosophy for love? What do you think love is in its rawest form?
It's love in its purest form is acceptance. That's it.
Wow.
You accept the person as they are and still want to be with them. And that realization that, see, with love, when we start in the beginning, people will think, okay, it's all rosy, the way it is portrayed. Love is not just a utopian idea of living a life where everything is happy and rosy. Love is also realization that I am accepting this person, he is accepting me, we are different, and we respect these differences also, and being together with that, and the respect, that's the key word here. You don't just accept the person, you also respect the person, respect their choices, respect their mistakes also.
I've always, I have this one-liner for, there can be respect without love, but there can never be love without respect. It's something that I completely believe in.
Yeah.
And after years of my journey, I coined love as your utmost toleration level towards a person is love. I'll be very honest, because we, at the end of the day, we tolerate each other. Right? For me, that's how I got taught. When I was experimenting with love. I've had my own days of experimentation with love, not necessarily with a person, but with different things, and with different relationships. And I thought, if I look at my family, my sister and I, we fight sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just that I tolerate her for most of the times, and she tolerates me too most of the times, and we're inseparable in that way.
Yeah, it makes sense, because tolerate is, in a way, slightly negative synonym for an acceptance.
Right.
If you see.
Right, of course.
You are tolerating because you are accepting the person as they are.
Right.
On a good day, on a good mood, you will say, I accept your flaws. On a bad day, you will say, I'm tolerating your flaws. That's it.
Right. That's the best validation that I've gotten so far. I'll put it out online on Reels, and I'll show this to people who have told my definition is wrong. But of course, I understand. It comes down to what kind of experiences you have had. So
and it cannot be always all the good. You will be angry with that person, but you will have, the way you say, you might feel that I'm tolerating the person, but that realization and that awareness that this is also just for one day. Next day, next moment, I will be loving this person. That's it.
Right.
So why not?
Right. That's really wonderful. See, that's why I talk to people like you, people like of different age groups. I tend to learn something, and I feel I have a very selfish tendency of learning from people without letting them know that I'm learning from them. The whole podcast.
Beautiful part. That's the superpower.
I know. This podcast itself is just that too. I can bring people like you, amazing people, and just learn from you. Without letting you know that I'm learning from you. But having said that, since you're talking about experiences, I want to understand, what are the experiences that you have had in your life that you feel like were the turning points, because we all grow up in a certain way, but I think there are certain incidents in your life that teaches you so much that otherwise the rest of the 15 years wouldn't have taught you. So what are the experiences that you have had which made you the person you are today?
My turning points, or somewhere where I thought a lot have changed in me, are one is definitely loss of my mother. I realized I grew up and there's a lot of understanding. So I think that's the major event in my life which changed me a lot for the good. Because eventually, after all the grief and all, and you understand how beautiful it is to have someone in your life, to have them until you had. So the acceptance, the beauty of realizing those memories are so beautiful, and how much they have given you. I think that when I learned to accept that, there was a major change in me. I felt, there was a major transition.
No, I completely understand that part. You are, of course, with your life experiences, you are who you are today. But I also know that you might have not been like this before.
Of course not.
Right. So I want to understand how was just to lighten up the conversation. How were you as a kid? Were you like the good school girl or like the naughty one? How were you?
Oh yeah. I think I was the naughty one in our family. I'm the youngest child also.
Okay. How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings, 2 elder sister, 1 elder brother.
Okay.
So I'm the youngest. Obviously I was spoiled. I'm still spoiled. Like my siblings still pamper me. Yeah. So there was a lot of things I used to do, and my dad would. I could get away with anything. My siblings couldn't. So that's the thing, because they were elder, they should be more responsible.
Right.
So and because my dad was a teacher, so he was in the same school where we used to study. So he would always know what I have done, or as such I was good in studies. I would not do something. Like I would not bunk classes on all those things.
Not that kind of naughty.
Yeah, but I'll have my own fun with my friends, which even teachers knew, which my dad knew, everyone knew. So,
What's the biggest complaint that they have for you?
People used to come and tell my dad that she's not like your other kids.
Right.
They are very simple. Because they would hear us, like my friends and us, doing things. So that way. And as a kid, the major thing was I did what I wanted. Because our parents also never told us that you have to wear this, you have to do this, you have to study. There was no force on it. They wanted, like my father, my mom, they wanted us to study, have something in your life, but there was no force or even on ideas. Like if we question anything, my dad worships a lot. So if we question, he would try to use science and try to convince us. He would never say that this is how it is and that's why you have to believe. No, he would tell us. So we grew up in an environment which was very open, which allowed us to question a lot, have our own thinking. We used to have debate even as kids. We would have different opinions. Like 6 people will have all 6 different opinions, and we were allowed to have that. So I'm very thankful for that. Yeah. And even when we grew up, my parents had very adventurous life on their own. So we used to hear a lot of stories, their stories. We learned from them. So we knew that we can be free, we can be what we want to be. And there was no distinction of you are a girl, you are a boy, nothing. So we just grew up as kids.
Right. So it's really amazing because most might not have the same experience.
I'm really thankful for that. Yes,
because I was at a conference and I was asked this question about about parenting. Although I'm not a parent yet, but I was asked this question, and that day I just figured out something myself, and I told them that what. Good parents doesn't mean that your kids are going to be good, and bad parents doesn't mean your kids are going to be bad. So I see parents nowadays, they're very much they have this anxiety, they have this panic. Oh, how should I parent? What should I do every day? And of course, it's a cultural shock for them because the world is moving so fast now. Right, 5 years back, kids were on phones. Now kids are on AI. And it's so fast. I feel bad also for millennial parents sometimes. Oh my God, there's so much thing that's happening, and you have to keep on with your kids and have those conversations that you have never had with your parents before. Right? Today's kids are asking, and they are questioning, and
they have so much of exposure.
Yeah. How do you look at parenting nowadays?
See, I've seen my sisters. Both my sisters have one. Both have one boy.
Okay.
They have, and my nephews, the way they are being raised, I think it's beautiful because yes, they have so much of exposure, but it depends on parents how much of exposure they want. Like my nephew, one of my nephew is almost 10 years old. He still doesn't have a phone, and he knows he will not have until he is 15. But he has knowledge of everything from the books, from classes, from experiences. So I found their parenting, like for that is my exposure currently. And I have found it very interesting the way they are raising, because even when they were 1 year old, and if they ask something why sun is round, they will not just say okay, this is round because orange is round, nothing like that. They will give a scientific reason to that. They will tell everything as it is. And this I have seen them, like both my sisters and my brother-in-laws, they used to say, we will tell what is the real thing. They will grasp something because they are young. Doesn't mean they are dumb. We cannot consider kids as dumb. Let them know, and then they will eventually understand.
Right.
But treat them with respect. Have them there, and they are individuals that you have to believe that they are not like your replica.
Right.
They are not here to follow your rules. They are born and with their own ideas.
Have the mind of their own
personality. Respect that and give them the things as they are. They learn.
Right.
I'm in awe with both of my nephews. Like sometimes I feel they know better than me, and they're more compassionate and more understanding.
Right.
So I feel then for that current generation is parenting even nicer, better way, because they have also more exposure. They have more things to help them out with.
Right.
So if you can use, why not?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Talking about exposure again, because I'm just very curious about how a writer writes, right? And I want to understand. First things, I'll just start off with the book, the characters, right? Kranti, Mrudula, and Maya. I feel that you're very intelligent in the way you have picked their names, because if you look at their journeys, it reflects the meaning of their names, and that's why I asked you the meaning of your name.
Yeah.
Because Kranti is sort of a revolutionary.
Yeah, he wants to rebel in his own way. Yeah.
and there was Maya, who's living in illusion
Yes,
herself,
exactly,
and
yeah.
Mridula, who's soft, who's trying to get back and try to sort of her life, and she's softer in a way, and she's not like Kranti and Maya altogether.
Exactly,
So
yes,
I really love the way you have put their names.
Thank
I don't know if someone has acknowledged it, but I really understood. Oh, okay, so this is the moment I started reading the book, I started off googling Mridula's name because I know Kranti is revolution and Maya is illusion. I know the meaning of this, but I'm like, what does Mridula mean? And it was really amazing because once I understand the meaning of those names, the book has come to me very easily. As if it was very warm to me. It started becoming warm. So now the writers.
How they are going to be.
Yeah. So I want to understand, how did you come up with these characters first? And I've also read that you have first started off with 11 characters, right? And then you come.
Yeah.
I was also wondering that what if you write other books with all the other characters, 3 other characters and then 3 other characters. But having said that, I want to understand that part. Why did you name these people as 3, and why did you choose those particular disturbances in their life? Is there a special meaning behind it?
With their names, yes, the way you say it, yes, I thought about all those things. Mridula, I didn't go for the meaning. I just wanted a Assamese name. I have asked my friends and I went with it, very honestly. And Kranti, yes, because he was rebelling against everything in his own way, which he thought he was right.
Right.
That's a different topic on what things he wanted to rebel against.
I love the exchange between him and Maya the most, because he keeps on telling something and Maya keeps on cross-questioning and explaining him as well. I just love that part. So so I wanted to understand, was there a conscious suggestion that you wanted the kind of conflict that they've had in their lives? Where does that come from? What kind of conscious suggestion you have made?
When I started writing, I wanted to write a book for my major theme was displacement I wanted to portray,
right,
which we all are facing nowadays. It's not, because when most of the books I read, the displacement only was discussed in novels which had international boundaries. So if you cross and go to a US, you feel displaced. From my personal experience also, I realized that is not the case. You can feel displaced even within a country or even within a city. You might shift from one place to another. You might go from Gachibowli to somewhere else, high tech, and you will feel, okay, there's a difference. Your home, your flat changes. You still feel displaced with another society. So the feeling stays, it doesn't matter. It's very universal. And we all are feeling that. Nowadays, earlier it was more of, less people were migrating, I feel. Now for education, we all are traveling.
Right.
We all are going to different places. For jobs, definitely. Sometimes even for our research, we'll go and stay for some place for 2 months. That place becomes our home and we come back. Do we feel displaced or not? These were my questions when I thought, okay, let me write about it. And many of the things also came as I was writing. So like you said, I started with the 11 main characters and it was my first draft. Too chaotic, to be very honest. So after I write every draft, I used to give it to my friends, different set every time, to read and give me opinions. So many said that either you write like 3-4 books on these characters, otherwise you are not justifying any of the character. If I'm writing 11 main characters, I have to give justice to each one, right? Unless I'm not doing that, what's the point of having them? So slowly I started removing. I boiled down to 3 main characters from 11. And the first draft when we write, this is the 7th draft, the book came. So you can imagine how the first draft would have been. So in 11 characters, there were few characters which were very similar also. So when you edit again, or what I do is usually I write a draft, then I leave it for a few months. I go back again and I reread it. When I read it like a reader, then I understand what are the problems, which characters are very similar. That way, mechanically, I clubbed them together, few of them. Some characters I removed because they were not adding anything to the story. And a story also needs to have one theme, if it has to be one novel. So those were how I was doing as an editor. I was thinking, okay, this is how. After that is done, then again I start writing with a fresh mind, with a fresh story. So that's how I did for 6 times. And the 7th was, okay, this is what I want to publish.
Right.
This is how it went on.
Right.
And with displacement, yes, I started with also monsoon flood I wanted to show because there's an yearly flood. And with the story of displacement and belonging, I felt if I have to be in Northeast, Assam is the major point because it's the connecting city, connecting state if you say. Guwahati is the connecting point. But I wanted to have the liberty, geographical liberty. So I created these. These are fictional towns.
Right. Major Ghat and...
Mazor Ghat and...
yeah. I was reading it as Major Ghat.
Wait, Mazor Ghat and Sigodolung. These are... I created these towns. But I created these as the connecting point from the main India and the rest of the Northeast. So that whenever the displacement is also happening, we know from where the person is transit. So that's how it all came together.
Right.
And the more I wrote, I don't know how it just took their own shape somewhere.
This is very interesting because since we're talking about displacement and the characters and the kind of liberty that you have had in creating different places as well, right? I want to understand, I'm sure many people who would also go on to write books probably in the future or be a part of journalism as their educational curriculum and profession. I want to understand, how do you define liberty for a writer? How much is enough is something that I wanted to understand, or does writing adhere to any kind of rules? So I want to understand, how do you restrict yourself as a writer? How do you draw that boundary and feel like, okay, this is what I'll write about and this is what I'll stick to?
Liberty, I personally feel that writers or any artist can have creative liberty, but the liberty should not go into misinterpreting anything. So why I also took the liberty of creating a fictional town, because I didn't want it to get it wrong in any way about a real location. Because, see, I definitely have, even in writing, like the way it is narrated, there's a lot of liberty because it's a creation. You can have your way of saying things. You can say backwards or any way you want. But when you are representing a culture, when you are representing a person, you cannot misappropriate. And that is not a liberty any artist or any writer should take.
Right.
Yeah, and that I was very careful. When I'm writing about Arunachal, I know which town I was writing about in Sigodolung, but it was not exactly because I wanted some mountain, and geographically I wanted some more things. And I was not very sure if in the culture I'm writing exactly as it is, so I created a fictional town. So that's the thing, I feel a liberty we can take creatively, but even in that creativity, if we are representing any culture, any place, any person, it should be as it is. We cannot create a culture. We should not take liberty with
sentiments.
Yeah, with the sentiments,
Right.
with the way lifestyle is.
Culture.
That has to be as real as it is. For instance, I was writing about, in this I have written about Kranti's home. It's a Assamese home.
Right.
Personally, I have stayed in Arunachal Pradesh. I have relatives in Assam, so I know how it looks, but I have not really stayed in an Assamese home. But if I'm representing it, it cannot be from my perspective of an outsider, because I want to show somebody who is an Assamese living in a home. So I asked my friends how their kitchen looks like, what dals they keep, what masala they will keep, how their morning starts. Because if I'm presenting an Assamese household, I have to present it as it is. In that, I cannot take a creative liberty. So I did a lot of research. I've read a lot of books, spoken a lot of people, everything, so that in that there is no liberty. That has to be a proper research-based writing. So that's how it is.
But does it also restrict you in some way?
It doesn't. Unless, which genre you're writing also. If you're writing a science fiction, maybe you can take that liberty, because you are anyway not writing about a real place.
Right.
But if I'm writing a realistic fiction, or if I'm writing a literary fiction, and if I'm saying it is a Assamese household, then I have to show Assamese household. If I use that term, if I'm saying it is my fictional household of a fictional town, then it's a different thing.
Right. I want to understand, how's your writing process like? Because it's not easy as any other field, I would say. Because when it comes to acting as well, we will all agree that there is a certain sense of writer, there's a screenplay, and the actors perform. Not saying that performance is hard. I mean, not easy. Of course, it's hard, right? It depends on the actors. Everything is hard. I'm not saying anything is easy, but then, coming to writing, it's like the backbone, right? It's like the baseline. I want to understand, how's your writing like? What's your way of writing? How do you start something?
Yeah, writing, I feel, is also a lot internal dialogues. Writers are people, who live in their mind. They talk less. They will be talking in their mind. They will be so. First of all, I'm not very disciplined writer. I will not say I'm like 1,000 words every day.
Right.
No, it doesn't work for me.
I don't think that happens also. No, great.
I think many people write, but I don't do that.
There are disciplined writers as well. I thought writers are like the one with the buns and the men growing beard and all that.
When the mood kicks.
Yeah.
I am that, but I'm sure, because we are told that you have to write at least 1,000 words every day, even if it's shit, write it.
Okay.
I cannot do that, but when a story starts in me, I live in that story. That doesn't mean I will write every day, but I'm all the time thinking about it. For like 10 years, I've lived in this story, to be frank, and I was doing job, I was doing other things. There was a busy life was happening full speed, but still these characters were always in my mind. And if I'm doing anything also, I know if I'm writing more about Kranti, I would think from his perspective all the time. I'll think, okay, what will Kranti do if he's sitting here? How will he reply to a question? So that kind of thought goes on in me.
Right. And the internal dialogues that you have in your mind, which language do you speak? Inside?
English, very surprisingly. But English. My mother tongue is Hindi. We speak Hindi.
No, I thought you would talk in...
Yeah, but even I am surprised with that, but it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so writing also happened in English. My speaking happens in Hindi, mostly. But when I'm writing or thinking about writing, it is always in English. Yeah. So that goes on a lot internally, and after a lot of internal dialogue, I will sit and write. When I know there is something substantial enough to pen down. That's how my writing works. And along with that, it also works when I'm on the go. I'm always writing. I'm writing on my phone. I'll keep sending myself messages, or I'll make notes. I'll write paras. Whatever comes to me, I'll keep writing. One day I'll sit and see what all I have written. And if there's something, I'll add it to it. That also happens. So for me, I'm always living the story.
I shouldn't be asking you this question, but I'll still. Who's your favorite character out of those three? Do you have a favorite? Was there a protagonist by any chance? I want to understand that, but from your point of view at least.
From my perspective, I think Maya is. When I started writing, Maya was.
Okay.
Then it became. Everyone has their own space. Right. But when I started writing, it was Maya. But my favorite is Sunil. There's a minor character, but I really like that character. And
I was actually wondering why would you add that character? Like, why that thought has come into you?
Just to show the vulnerability. Like, I'm talking in this a lot about the loss and the people who have died. What about someone who has survived? What will be the psyche of them?
Wow.
And in any accident, there are losses. There are 200 people, 300 people, but there are 1,000 who survive also. And what is the guilt? That survivor's guilt. So I wanted to portray that also as well. And Sunil gives a different perspective of the accident from what the news stories and from what Kranti or Mridula or Maya are understanding. So I brought that up.
Now that you say, I feel like he definitely deserves his own spin-off.
Yeah.
His own version of story, Sunil.
Yeah, Sunil does. Yeah. In fact, I had a huge part written for him. His mother, there was a lot. And it went away with the drafts because it was not really adding to the main story.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I'll tell you, I've always been fascinated by stories of the West. Why? Is it's not because of their grandeur. It's not because of their richness or anything. It's more about the way of conveying a character. They would just start off with one character and then they'll make you sit for another 1.5 hour, and you'll stay with that character, right? You look at. I mean, it's not that. We also make great stories. We also have. I'm not saying that they are better than us, or
yes,
we are better than them in any which way. No comparison as such. But I love the way the storytelling happens. They just pick up a character right from scratch somewhere. No backstories, nothing. There was this movie from Japan. I think it also went on to win Oscar. I forgot the name. It's just about a man who's like a cleaner, and I forgot the movie's name, but it was such an amazing movie. There's nothing as such, you wouldn't find a conflict so visible. You wouldn't find a villain so visible. You wouldn't find anything, very visible that other industries might just show you in terms of elevations and all of that. And I found it very amazing. And one thing that I've noticed about Sunil, because we are talking about Sunil, is he had that sort of aura, and it's just that he started off, you just started off, and he just came and complimented the whole story again and gave a different perspective. And I just feel that's such a great work that you have done,
Thank you so much.
It's not that we're on a podcast and I have to, praise you as such. I really felt that these are the minute things that someone can do to
Thank you
just
so
make
much.
the story
That
much
means
more
a lot.
interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
But yes, do think about the spin-off. Would be nicer. And I have the faces in my mind. Of course, you might have different faces.
Yeah.
But I have different faces for myself. And
that's the beauty of literature, right? When you read, you will have your own way of seeing the story.
Right. For me, Sunil is wearing a blue colored dress. Kranti is wearing red. Maya is wearing ivory. And Mridula was always green. These are the colors that I've had.
And you have associations with the colors?
Yes, I feel it is there, not implied, but I think it's there with the notion of how we look at different emotions.
Oh, beautiful!
Yeah, I do have that, but I have played in my mind, so that I kept Maya in ivory is because she can blend in. I mean, her story blends. She can blend with characters. Most of the time, she's doing the talking part, and I felt ivory she because you can hang any picture on an ivory wall and it would look beautiful. When we look at museums, it's just that it's just there universal, and anything can go with it. So yeah, but. Amazing story. I feel that everyone should read it. I'll just put it out there for the kids. The links as well. I hope they read it. But having said that, as a writer now, since you're a writer, you're an author, and I'm sure there must have been lots of things that you've learned your way. But now that you've written a book, I want to understand, what do you think are the most important qualities that a writer must have when they're writing or are at least serious about writing?
I think we all can write. We all are writers, but to be an author, you really need that persistence and that mental strength you need. Because, unless you are planning for self-publishing, which is also a very good way to go, then you can write and then publish. But if you want a traditional publisher, or there is a long way to go, there will be rejections, and you need to trust your work. There will be suggestions from big editors, big places to change your stories. As a writer, for writer to become an author of their own work, which they thought it is, without changing, you have to have trust in your work, have that persistence, be ready for the challenges. Don't think that I have written a great book, so publishers will line and they will come and want to publish. Nothing like that happens. Be realistic, ready to fight for your work.
Right.
That is most important, I feel. Yeah.
Right.
And be ready to edit. Don't get so stuck. Like, there's so many my favorite parts I've removed. You cannot be in love with your work so much that you can't change it. Have trust in your work, but don't be hopelessly in love.
Wow. This reminds me of this movie called Roy, which is from a Bollywood movie starring Arjun Rampal. For me, how a writer thinks and writes, the introduction was that movie. Because in that movie, Arjun Rampal is a writer.
Oh, I should watch this movie.
No, he's not he's a director. He's a writer-director.
Okay.
Right, so he's writing, and apparently he's also simultaneously making that movie. it's such an amazing movie. I have no idea why it didn't do well
no?
in the box office. I'm sure because you don't know, that means it didn't do well. But it's a great movie. I'm sure if you read, I mean, if you go through that, I mean, if you watch that movie, there are a lot of things that, I don't know, for you it would be different because you're a writer. So the things that I derive from it would be completely different from what you'll derive. But it's a great movie, and the moral of the whole movie is that sometimes your character reflects onto the kind of book that you're writing, you know, and it also shows what kind of a person you are. And I wouldn't give it much, I wouldn't give much of the details, but you have to see that movie.
I will,
it's just an amazing movie. And now that you've mentioned that, you shouldn't be stuck at your idea of, this is how I want to write, because he also does that, but then later point of time he changes and he adapts to what his loved ones want from him, or the ones that he wants from him. It's a great movie, you have to watch. But having said that, I want to get into the other space, which is belongingness. Home, as we speak, we all know that we are going back home. Our parents would be there, or sibling, or our partners, and all, etc. And your book is your book, or the way you have written home is something very profound and beautiful, because it indicates the things that we have forgotten. Right? We take home for granted. And trust me, I think most of us don't even know what home looks like as of now.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to understand, what's your take on home and belongingness?
See, growing up, I also used to think home it's a very physical aspect, because that's what we grew up and think. Okay, this flat, I have to go, this is my home.
Right.
So that is the home. As you grow, we understand that home is also the people inside that. So that is what is home. Because if it's empty, it's a flat, and you don't want to go in there. I gradually, even while writing also, because it took 10 years is a lot of time to change your understanding. I understood that home is not one place. And most of us grew up, and even still now, believes that home has a physical aspect. We always find a physical thing and name it as home. Either it's a flat, or a city, or a state, or a country. But home is much more than that. We have to understand what home means to us. What going to that home, whatever it is, your city, your home, a flat, brings to you. Basically, it's peace, for what I understand. It's peace, a place where you are not judged, majorly. Yeah, there are places where also people are judged, but a place where you can be yourself, you are safe. So that feeling of home, if you understand what it denotes peace, it denotes safety. So it can be anywhere. I can be with a person and feel safe. That is also a feeling of home.
Right.
So for me, there are too many homes. Home is also changing, and it is growing. The list of home is actually growing, because as I grow, I meet many more homes. And sometimes home is also a nostalgia. It's how you define it.
Wow.
So if I go and visit my sister in US, we eat Indian food. It feels like home. She might cook like my mother, and her aloo paratha is like that. And I'm like, okay, this feels home. Right. So that is also a home.
Right.
That one, aloo paratha, it can be a home too, for that moment. And home has to be a permanent thing. It doesn't mean if you have. That's why I think we give home that physical aspect, because we think it has to be a permanent thing. Place is here, so this is my home. But home can be for a moment also. Home, you can feel home for an hour. That can also be a home. The only difference is either home is a feeling or it's a noun with a physical presence. That's how we have to see.
Right.
So this is what I have come to understand.
Right.
Yeah.
No, one thing that I'm really curious, I want to understand, how would you answer this?
Yeah.
How do you manage conflicts in your day-to-day life? Because I'm asking this because of your wonderful answers that I've been listening. Please.
It differs with where I'm having conflict. Is it with my husband? Conflicts, it depends on what the nature of the conflict also. My response differs with that, of course. Right. And there are times when I will behave the way anyone and everyone will behave. The thing is, the realization comes sooner.
Quicker? Okay.
So that's why I was telling her also, if one is feeling aggression, let you feel it. But just feel it. Don't act on it. And be aware of it. So I think that's how it is. Yeah. But conflict, definitely it changes with what conflict is. What is the nature of that?
Yeah. If I can take little liberty, how's your conflict with your husband? How do you deal with it?
I win. That's it.
I feel Priyadarshini would be someone who would just laugh it off.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of persona that
he's such a sweetheart. When we were like in college, we used to call him Buddha. He will be like fine with everything. He's just okay with anything and everything.
Right.
So yeah, there's very less chances of conflict. He agrees mostly.
Right.
Yeah, we'll have differences. We have differences of opinion. We'll have our discussions. We'll sit. It's fun. It's like we have a lot of discussions also. If we have different opinions, then we'll come to a conclusion. Or sometimes he will make me understand which I'm not understanding, or I'm not seeing that perspective. He will listen to me. He will understand. That's how it is.
I developed this idea very recently, very recently. I felt, inside of my mind, and I think I've shared it with someone. I don't remember who, but I feel Indian culture has really done a great job in conflict management. And how I say is, let's say your partners. I mean, most of the conflicts that you have will be with your partner, right? With the ones
that you are living with,
with the one that you live with for like 60, 50 years, right? So I believe that what Indian culture has done is we have relatives, right? We have mama, mami, chacha, chachi, kaka, kaki. And I feel that the whole reason why these relatives have been created is that when you have a conflict, you go to some place and be with them for some time. I wouldn't say just for conflicts, but just as a change of place. For a change. You can go visit your mama and mami for like 2 to 3 days, 4 days, and then come back, and then you visit your kaka and kaki, or you visit your chacha and chachi, and then you visit your nephew, or if they're living somewhere else. So I feel that Indian culture has really played it very well, and I think relatives are for that. They are like a buffer where you're just I'm done with my husband, or when I'm done with my wife, and just go spend some couple of time. I feel this is what has happened. I don't know if I'm sure it's not the right answer, but I feel that when you have relatives, when you have friends, it's good to just go there, spend some time and come back with a fresher mind, and then things would be easier for both of you. Because if not, I mean, I'm sure two people living together, that's a lot of chaos. I mean, that's an entirely different world altogether. So having said that, this is a couple of last questions that I have for you. The first question is, how would you define yourself in 3 words now?
Decisive.
Okay.
I know. And I have a very clear conscience. Okay. I work with that.
Okay.
So these two, third will be, I'll go with love. Yeah. And I keep reminding myself, it's not that I see everything with love. No, obviously I have my issues. But I keep telling myself, even like I meditate and all, I do those things. So once that answer came to me on my own, that on its own, that love is the answer for everything. That's it. And that doesn't mean love for a person. Just the way love can have different definition of acceptance, of letting it be, or having trust, or having faith in future, or even letting the things go by. Everything comes with love. And I feel that's what we learn from nature also. If you see, there's no judgment. Nature, the way they thrive, trees, anything, if you see, how I feel the base of anything which has been created by nature is love. So that is the most intrinsic feeling a human should have. So this is what I keep trying. I'm striving for it. I don't define myself with it, but I hope I reach there someday.
Wow,
That's how.
wow, wow.
Yeah.
It's very powerful to keep on reminding you.
Yeah, I do
rate
try.
yourself.
Yeah.
To act with love. I think that's really very powerful. Although most of the times we won't
We
be able
don't,
to.
and we cannot judge ourselves for that also.
Right.
It's okay
Right.
to fail and come back. That's it. Yeah.
And this is the last question that I have. What is the best thing that has happened after you became the writer, author? What was the best thing? Like, what were? I wouldn't ask your challenges because I've read many times your challenges. It's there everywhere. But I want to understand what was the best thing that has happened. And I'm sure the writing takes a lot of toll on you as well. You know, your time, your energy, your effort. Sometimes you are in a mood and you have to just go. You know, get going. So I want to understand. What are things that have happened in the best way possible when you have become a writer?
I think from the response of people,
Okay.
that has been very beautiful. Like how some readers have come and shared with me. I have got once a voice message, a person crying, but in a way, it's not a good thing that they're crying. But with the book, they were so emotional, and I felt okay. I have done my part. And they were so emotional about characters, and they were happy. Fine. Hope, like, thank God you didn't do that with that character, and the emotions they had. So that really made me that okay, I did a good thing by publishing. So these kind of things. There was one young girl. She came and told me how there was an instance of Maya when she returned. One snacks in a hotel, samosa, it was not good and all that, and how she couldn't confront. So that girl said, came and told me that that's how I feel, and I felt seen in that. So that made me feel, okay, you're doing a decent job, just do it. So those small events where they have written to me, sent me messages, those I have saved. That's the best part, in fact.
Right.
And yes, my nephew. They are so young they can't read. So they read the blurb and they told, okay, Mossy knows many good words. So I thought, okay, at least some acknowledgement from them. So those are beautiful parts. Like for me, it's emotions, people, what comes from them. So that was the part. Yeah.
How are you defining success for yourself?
If I am happy with it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. I am not looking for whether I have won award or which literary festival I went or what I have got out of it. Am I happy? Because I wanted to write a book where even at least one person can feel the way I feel when I read my favorite authors. I am not going to go and tell them, but I feel so thankful that those books are written. So I just thought if one person can feel that, I wanted to achieve that. That's it.
Wow.
More than that, I don't have any other things. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
Well,
it.
having said that, it was great having you.
Thank you so much. It was such an interesting
I'll be
conversation.
very honest, there's so many questions. I'm just keeping the time in my mind, but probably we'll have a part 2 if the audience also loved it. And there are a lot of questions that will come written this time. There's so many things that I want to explore. But it was great having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for your
so
time.
much. It was really an amazing conversation. And yes, you had great insights. I have to say that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Now what we'll do is we'll open the floor for questions. Yeah, I'm sure many of our audience would want to ask you different questions. Okay, so the first question, who would want to ask the first question? Please introduce yourself, your name.
Hi, I'm Arushi, and listening to all of this made me question you that when you're writing books, sometimes you told that you put your experience about it, and sometimes when you write, you jot it down. You have to sometimes go back and feel those emotions again to pen it down. So how do you feel about going back and maybe living that pain or that joy? Is it cathartic that you make it as a part of your book or your writing? And
Yeah, so when I'm writing about fiction, it's not necessarily my emotions, my experiences. There's a lot of observation also comes. So, but for example, in this book, I geographically and the feeling of displacement I have put from my experience, but the things these characters have gone through, obviously I haven't, because these are traumatic things, and but I have forced myself to feel those ways. So I wrote about a train derailment, train accident. I have not been in one, but I wanted to write from the perspective of how it feels. So I have simulated those experiences. That's why also it took me 10 years, because what I used to do is I used to watch a lot of clippings of train accidents, read about them, watch them and sleep, so that I can internalize the pain. And then I used to write about that.
So was it cathartic to you?
It was mentally at some points also very, not cathartic, it was disturbing also. I started writing, and for me, I wanted to do justice to something so heavy, because there are people who have gone through that. So I wanted to feel that pain. Same way I have written about, there's a character, Mridula, she stayed alone and how she was feeling. So I didn't know what that feeling of suffocation in a relationship is. So which I'm not very sure if everyone does, but I was in that phase where I was stuck and I didn't know how Mridula will react or how she has to act. So what I did was I stayed in my room for 10 days and I kept thinking. Like I was writing, reading, I was coming out, but I had cut off from the world and I kept thinking of what she will do and how she will react. So what she has to do. So somewhere I tried to get into their characters, and then I tried to think from there. That's how I started living in their characters. Okay, how she will see this perspective, how she will sit, how she will behave, what her body language will be. So these things are not me, but I have tried to become them and then write about it in many a times.
Very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, I'm Kirat.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask, that's been many years that you've been living out of Arunachal Pradesh,
Yeah.
but you still chose to write something on Arunachal Pradesh. Is it because you still feel that you belong over
Yes.
there? A part of you is still over there?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
A part of me will always be there. It's my first home and I grew up there. And this book is actually based majorly in Assam. I never stayed, but I wrote about it. And Northeast has a special place in my life. And I wanted also to show Northeast in a way it is really. So that's also one of the reasons. And I knew about these. We start writing about the things we know. So this is also one reason.
So what about Assam did you discover since you've not stayed in Assam and while you had to do your research, since you were writing about Assam, what all about Assam did you discover?
I have both my brother-in-law, both the brother-in-laws, my sisters, are from Assam. So not Assamese, but they are settled in Assam. They have grown up. So I knew a bit of that. From them, I took a lot, and my friends were there. And I always had Assamese friends, so I knew the culture. So while writing, because I had to write the minute, intricate details, then I used to ask my friends more about them. That's how it is.
Any other questions?
Sir, I think, yeah.
Hello, myself Manas. I do.
Put little far.
Okay. I do write Hindi shairi kavita.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So my question is that I am from Odisha. My mother tongue is Odisha. I also know the Odia language completely, but I have tried to write in Odia, but I can't. So my question is that is it with me also? As you said, your mother tongue is Hindi.
Yeah.
So it's natural to think, right? We can write only in one language, or we don't have interest, or we can't try.
That's a very interesting question.
For me, I cannot write in Hindi also, because I've not stayed in a place where Hindi is spoken so much. Stayed in Arunachal Pradesh, then Bangalore. So for me, English was the go-to language. That's how I started thinking and writing in English. But a person can write in two languages also. And it is completely fine not to write in your mother tongue. Because creatively, if you are thinking in some other language, why not write about it? There's no hard and fast rule, and we shouldn't have that. So if you want to write in Hindi, whatever you are comfortable with, I feel. And if you eventually want to write in Oriya language, but you are not able to, then maybe you can go the practical way, hone your skills, read more of the literature from that language. You will understand and get it. That's also one reason why we easily start writing in English. We read a lot of English books, so it comes easily to us.
Thank you.
We can hone ourselves.
And
Yeah.
name, sorry?
Manas.
Manas. And Manas, we always have translations. Let's say you're writing in English, you can always translate to any language now.
Yeah.
We have that privilege. So don't stop yourself. Don't stick to yourself to one language.
Languages,
You can always
yeah.
get it translated as well. And I also speak Odia myself, so whenever you need something, you
Wow.
tell me and I'll translate for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Such a cool host you have.
Yeah. Already giving the helping hand.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Hi.
I think I've
Stand.
yeah. I think I feel more connected today because I belong to Northeast. Actually, I am curious about that. You told that you mentioned you are not that a disciplined writer. So, but if according to my experience, like if I leave something, if I give a gap of one day at least, I'll again procrastinate more on it.
Yeah.
Like I have to write down at least one word or something related to that so that I can continue to the continue with it. So what is your strategy on that? Or you can go with it if you give a gap also.
Yeah, so for me, physically I'm not putting in the work, but mentally I'm not at all disconnected. So if I am writing something, I'm also reading. That is also my work. I'm learning. I'm noticing things. So for a writer to write something, like to create a fiction, sometimes they say go live a life. That's where you get your stories. That's where you get your observation. I do this with the awareness that I am observing. I took so much from my gym, from everywhere, and put it in the book. So I know when I'm taking. It's always there in the mind. I'm never disconnected from the work. That is always there. And if we know that, okay, I'm taking 2 days break, I'm taking 5 days break, it's okay. When we know that we are going to come back, at least have that realization.
It actually happens with my research papers.
Thank you.
So
Hi,
I
sir.
think you'll have to carry another book, for the general observations that you're having.
Yeah.
Carry 2 books. One is where you write, the other book is where you write your observations.
Observation, whatever comes to your mind at that time. Yeah.
But thank you so much, sir. It was a really amazing question.
Hello, I'm Bhavneet.
Hi, sir.
Firstly, I would like to compliment both of you because your answers were very truthful and you were very genuine in asking the questions and
Thank you, sir.
you actually had a good research done. And secondly, ma'am, I want to know that you have written about 2 states and you've had experience there, you have stayed there. You have formulated certain characters. You spent about 10 years. Over all these years, do you feel that that was something you or they were just fictional characters?
There was a lot of me also in that. We cannot write something unless we have
Experience it.
feelings, experience. But the point is, in fiction, we mix a lot of imagination in it. There will be an idea. For instance, there are instances here how Kranti and Maya are with each other, what they are sharing. That experiences might have been with me also, but I have added an imagination to it and added a relevance to the story and used it.
Okay.
So a part of me will always with all the characters, all the stories, but it is not exactly me.
Okay.
So that's how it is. Yeah.
Secondly, ma'am, if you are supposed to write this book after 10 years, do you think that the version will be different or it will be the same?
After 10 years, honestly, my writing will change because when I read it, I still feel I can write better than this now. I want to edit it again. So the story, I feel this was the story. It will not change. This will stay like this. But
Okay.
the writing style might change because I'm writing my another novel and I know that now the style has already changed.
Okay.
So that will change. Definitely.
That's nice. Huh? And what are the 3 human lessons you want to draw out of this, ma'am? What you want your readers to actually grasp?
May I answer before you?
Yeah, please.
So I'll tell you honestly, you read the book because this is such a great book that each and every individual, I assure you, whoever reads it will take away something in a different manner. So
Thank you so
probably
much, yeah.
just read the book once. I'm sure you will have 3 different takeaways from this and you'll love that. But having said that, since you've asked this question, we'll see also what Richa ma'am has taken. But I'll also tell you that this is something that you have to feel it for yourself.
And I definitely read it. I just read the gist on AI, so I know the characters are there. It's about displacement.
Yeah.
It's about the struggles which they experience.
Yeah.
But all struggles have human, value-ridden lessons.
Yes.
So, what was the basic idea that you wanted to project through this book? That is exactly what I want to ask. You mentioned about love, ma'am. You mentioned about judgment.
Yes.
You mentioned about struggle. You mentioned about being fair, being acceptable. You should accept others. But what are the 3 drastic lessons which you want your readers to take from this?
I want my readers to feel seen in this book. That's it.
They want to analyze yourself with it.
Yeah, as in
Because everybody has got
everybody
character.
has things in their life and they feel that maybe they are wrong. They have a lot of internal conflict. I wanted to present it because it has happened with me when I have read book, I have got my answers. So I wanted it to present something that it's okay if you are doing this. It's not abnormal. Others can also do it. So, and that conflict, acceptance of your internal conflict. Each character has a lot of internal conflict. They go through that need to belong. And that need to belong also comes out of their different level of conflicts, different kind of needs. So there's nothing learning. I just wanted my readers to read this and feel that, okay, maybe sometimes I might also behave like this and it's okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So having said that, it was great having you, Richa,
Thank you so
and
much.
I hope you all got your answers right, and I hope there are certain takeaways today, and I wish you put it in your life as well in a more practical manner, and hopefully learn a lot from Richa. And we'll have more conversations like this. Hopefully Richa will come again in 6 months, and if you have any questions, you can just put it down there. And yeah, that's it. And thanks
Thank you
again.
so much.
Thanks again.
Thank
Richa.
you
Thanks
so
for
much.
being here.
I have also learned a lot today.
Right.
We had such an interesting conversations with you, with everyone else. Yeah.
Right.
So thank you so much. Thanks a lot.